Hi, I'm Amber Guinness and this is how I host with style. I'm here in my family's home in Tuscany where I'm about to show you how to cook the perfect winter's feast. This is so delicious and very easy to do. I think when you're hosting in winter, it's all about creating the right lighting, and candlelight is so helpful with this. If you have it at different levels, it creates a lovely sense of movement and is really flattering on people's faces at a time of year when they have not seen the sun for a long time, so we need all the help we can get. In winter, when flowers aren't at their best, I rely a lot on greenery. The main one I rely on here, because we have so much in the garden, is rosemary, and it gives that beautiful smell when you walk in as well. And you can make these lovely little bouquets in little vases. They are just a lovely thing to pop around the room to give a little sense of green, of foliage, bringing the outside in when it's too cold to spend too much time outside. I've got my aperitivo ready. I've got my crostone with salsiccia stracchino and my crostini with carciofi in mayonnaise, the artichoke and mayonnaise ones. I think it's nice just to put food somewhere central, somewhere that's easily accessible for everyone. People could be standing by the fire chatting and lean down and pick one up. When I do trios of snacks like this, I try and have something crunchy, maybe a carb like a tarallo like this, something meaty and kind of spoiling like a bit of salame, as thinly sliced as you possibly can. And then this is just pecorino cheese, so I quite like to have something fatty to kind of, any sommelier would tell you that having cheese is great for kind of cleansing the palate when you're having a bit of wine or a cocktail. So this pasta is one of my favourite dishes from my new book, Winter in Tuscany, which is my absolute Bible for entertaining in winter. And this is a baked pasta with bechamel and fennel. So it's got that kind of aromatic flavour from the fennel, it's got that cosy, warming, wintry feel from the bechamel, and it's all going to get baked with lots of parmesan on top, so it'll have, again, that bubbling, gorgeous feeling of these other dishes. And what I love about this is that I can prepare it ahead of time before my guests arrive, and then just shove it in the oven when we're all having drinks. So we're just doing this last bit of sprinkling, and this is what's going to give that lovely, beautiful colour to the top of our dish when we serve it up. So what's wonderful about nature is that in this, the coldest time of year, when the days are their darkest, they send us beautiful citrus fruit. This is when citrus is at its best. So I'm going to add a bit of fresh lemon zest. You get the ones which aren't treated, the ones which are natural. And this is all ready now to go in the oven. I'll put it in for half an hour and then it needs 15 minutes to rest. This is the table we'll be laying for our winter dinner party. It's simple, elegant, and exactly what I feel like in winter. Christmas is all about colour, lights, overstimulation, so I really like having this slightly calmer tablecloth with the evergreens and the kind of amber honey-coloured candles. And with candles, I always try and buy non-drip because they're such a nightmare to get wax off of these. I've just done an arrangement here with some of the leaves that we foraged this morning, and I have just cut them very short so that I can kind of arrange them here at various heights. And it's just a really simple, inexpensive way to kind of create this outside coming in feeling during the winter when you need a little bit of green in your life, I always think. I am just using these beautiful Granada plates which my parents bought in Spain, and I think with crockery it's really lovely to pick things up when you're traveling, when you're, something to remind you of somewhere lovely you've been. Napkins, if we're not that many people, I like using linen napkins. I got these in the Comran shop. I love them because they have this lovely piping which gives a kind of pop of colour. These sorts of kind of bone-handled knives are really beautiful, and you can pick those up in thrift stores for very, very inexpensively. I've got these lovely ribbed glasses which actually used to be candles and I just emptied them out and gave them a clean, and they are now my favourite water glasses. Never use anything that you mind getting broken, and anything with a stem is much more likely to get broken, so I would just always go IKEA with that. And on the note of things having broken, I've broken lots of these recently, so I'm going to have to use a sixth, slightly different one. but it's all about imperfections and mismanagement, so we don't mind that. So for our dessert, I have made my rosemary and olive oil chocolate mousse. This is so delicious and very easy to do. What I would encourage you to do is plan a dessert that you can make ahead. I made this last night because I had a bit of time and I was at home, and this will last in the fridge for a few days. So I think it's nice for dessert to have something indulgent, but that's not quite so rich. And by replacing cream with olive oil, this makes this dish a little bit lighter, a little bit more aromatic from the rosemary, and it's a really gorgeous way to finish a meal.
Right, everything's ready. I'm going to go get changed for dinner.
Having a well set up bar is such an important step before you have people coming over for a drink. If you don't have, and I'm not saying you have to have a set up bar space, so this can be on your island, on a table, wherever you want to, just have a little area with everything you need to make drinks, whatever they might be that you are making. This will mean that you're not jumping up and down like a jack-in-the-box trying to get things they want. It's all in one place, it makes life easy, and it means you can fix them a drink quickly. When I worked at the River Cafe, there was a rule that anyone who walked through the door had to have a drink in their hand within 5 minutes, and it really works. It calms everyone down, makes them feel looked after, and it means they're not hysterical if they're not fed quickly, basically. So I'm going to start with one of my alcoholic cocktails, which is a Negroni sbagliato. In Italian, sbagliato means wrong. And basically this cocktail is wrong because a usual Negroni has gin, but a barman in Milan apparently once grabbed the Prosecco instead of the gin and made now this very famous cocktail, which for me is a bit lighter, it's a bit less alcoholic, which kind of I like because it doesn't floor your guests the minute they arrive before you sit down to dinner. So that is our alcoholic cocktail this evening. That is our Negroni sbagliato. Italians have been doing non-alcoholic cocktails the best in Europe for many, many years because they have these gorgeous non-alcoholic bitters called Sanbiter. Et voila, you wouldn't know that you're not having an alcoholic drink too. I mean, they're pretty similar. So I like to stick to cocktails before dinner, and then during dinner and after dinner, I like to stick with wine. I would light the candles about 10 minutes before you're going to sit down. And then the other detail I'm going to do now, before my guests sit down, and I think it's such a nice, thoughtful touch, is fill their water glasses. I would say, rules of thumb, don't sit husbands and wives, boyfriends and boyfriends, girlfriends and girlfriends, girlfriends and boyfriends next to each other because they spend all day long together most of the time. So it's nice to split up couples. If you see that someone was chatting a lot during drinks, it's quite nice to mix it up and make sure they're not sitting together. Okay, so I've got my food on the table here. Here are our delicious greens, and there's our gorgeous, bubbly, lively pasta. This evening I'm putting them either side of the candles, and they'll go in this direction, anti-clockwise, and people will just pass them around and help themselves. So salt and olive oil and bread, I think, are key components of a table though, because everyone has different levels of salt that they like. Nothing annoys me more than when I go to a restaurant and they tell me I can't have salt because the chef has salted it to perfection. You can't salt something to perfection because everyone's levels of salt are different. So I think it's important to have that on the table. And these lovely little olive oil decanters are just really attractive, beautiful little details to add your olive oil onto your table, and then people can drizzle as they wish. Thanks for watching as I prepare to host a winter feast with style. My guests are about to arrive, so it's time for you to go. Don't forget to subscribe.